everyone, I'm Ilana and we're in the Growing Chefs Ontario classroom kitchen, and today we are making a sweet potato latke recipe. Latkes are traditionally eaten during Hanukkah, which is an 8-day festival that celebrates a miracle of light. To celebrate this festival, we cook food in oil, and most people know about the latke, which is a crispy potato pancake. Today we're making it with sweet potato, and that might not seem very traditional, but latkes were actually originally made out of a salty cheese by Italian Jews, and the potato didn't become popular in Eastern Europe until the 1800s. So join us today in cooking this sweet and savory sweet potato latke recipe. So to start this recipe, we are going to wash our sweet potato, and once it's washed, we're going to go ahead and peel it. So once we've peeled our sweet potato, we want to make sure we're always working clean. So we're going to take any of our compost and always have a bowl to put our compost in, and always give our cutting board a nice wipe. So we've got our peeled sweet potato now. Depending on the size of your sweet potato, it might be helpful to give it a little cut in half or into quarters. So this might be something to get an adult to help you with, because a raw sweet potato is kind of hard to cut. So using a chef's knife, you're going to cut the sweet potato in half. And again, if your sweet potato is really big, this still might be a little hard to hold for when you're grating. So you might want to cut it again into a quarter. If you have a safe chopper at home, you can also try using a safe chopper to cut your sweet potato, but because it's not cooked, it's quite hard to chop. So get an adult to help you with the chef's knife. So next we're going to take our pieces of sweet potato, and we're going to use the largest holes on our box grater, and we're going to grate our entire sweet potato. Now, depending on the size of your sweet potato, you might need to use the whole thing to get 3 cups. And if you have smaller sweet potatoes, you might need to use 2 sweet potatoes to get 3 cups, which is what we need for our recipe. So we're going to grate our sweet potato. So now that we have grated our sweet potato, we didn't use our entire potato because we actually have a really huge sweet potato. We are going to see if we have 3 cups. So we're going to take our 1 cup measuring cup and pack our sweet potato in really tight. And we are going to place those cups of sweet potato into a towel-lined bowl. This is going to help us get the moisture out of our potato, so we make sure we're getting a really, really crispy latke. So this is about 2 cups. I'm going to grate a little bit more in my sweet potato and make sure I get 3 cups that we need for this recipe. So I've got my last cup that I need for my sweet potato here. So I've got 3 cups now of grated sweet potato I'm going to put in my towel-lined bowl. And then again, I'm going to try to keep working clean, so any dishes that I'm not going to need again, I'm going to put away, and I'm going to wipe off my cutting board area. So now that we have our 3 cups of sweet potato in our towel-lined bowl, we are going to get our onion ready. Depending on the size of the onion that you have, you can use 1 medium onion. If your onions are quite small, you might need to use 2, and if your onion is really big, you can just cut it in half and use half of it. We're trying to get about ½ cup of onion, and you can adjust that depending on your taste. If you really like onion, put lots in. If you don't like onion so much, you can put a little bit less if you want your sweet potato pancake to be a little bit more savory. So we're going to peel our onion first. It's easy if you can chop the top off and the bottom. And then we're just going to peel the first layer of skin off of our onion. We're going to put the skin of our onion in our compost bowl here. And then depending on your size of your onion, you're going to start grating it from now. If your onion's really big, again, you can cut it in half. So I'm going to grate my onion. If you prefer more chunkier sweet potato latkes, you can slice your onion very thinly, but I like mine to have the onion all mixed in. So I grate my onion. So I'm done grating my onion, and you might get a little teary-eyed doing this like I just did, but that's okay. And we're gonna take our grater, we're finished with it, so we're gonna put that away and wash it. So we are gonna take our ½ cup of onion. You can measure it out. Again, you can adjust it according to your taste. And we are gonna put that in our towel-lined bowl with our sweet potato. So we're gonna take our sweet potato and onion mixture and squeeze all the liquid out. You can see I've got a ton of liquid coming out of my mixture. And to get a little extra leverage, so you can get all the moisture out so that you make sure you're getting a crispy, crispy fried latke, you're gonna take a wooden spoon and use it to twist every last little bit of moisture that you can out of your potato and onion mixture. And if you're making your latkes gluten-free, instead of adding flour as a binder, you can let your liquid from your potatoes sit, and the potato starch will settle to the bottom, and you can scoop that out and add that to your latkes, and it'll help hold them together if you're making them gluten-free. So we're gonna discard this water because we are making our latkes with gluten. We're using flour today. And we're gonna take our mixing bowl and we're gonna add our dry sweet potato and onion mixture. So next we're gonna take our scallions. You can also use chives. And if you want this recipe to be a more sweet than savory, instead of adding scallions or chives, you could use cinnamon and nutmeg and mix that in and have more of a sweet sweet potato latke. It's really easy to cut things like herbs and chives with scissors. So if you have a small pair of scissors, you can use those to finely chop your chives. If not, you can use a knife. And we're gonna put half of this into our mixture, and the other half we're gonna save as a garnish to go on our latkes and in our sour cream at the end. So I'm gonna take about half of my scallions, my green onion, and I'm gonna save half of it for the end when I'm gonna use it to garnish my latkes and my sour cream. And the other half I'm gonna add right into my mixture. And now we are finished with our cutting board. So again, always working clean. We're gonna get our cutting board and our peeler and our scissors. Everything we don't need, we're gonna get it out of the way. So now that we have our scallions, our grated sweet potato, and our grated onion, we're gonna add the rest of our ingredients. So we're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. So next we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of flour. Again, if you're making this recipe gluten-free, you can add 2 tablespoons of potato starch. You could also use cornstarch. And if you don't have any potato starch or cornstarch at home, you can use the potato starch that comes out of the liquid of squeezing out your potatoes. We're gonna add a little bit of black pepper to taste. This is up to you. I like lots and lots of black pepper in mine, so I'm gonna do a good 2 pinches, but it all just depends on your taste. Next, in a separate bowl, we're gonna beat our eggs. So we're gonna use 2 eggs. If you ever get any egg in your mixture, you can use your shell to scoop it out. Once they're mixed up, we're gonna add them right into our mixture. Now we're gonna mix everything together, making sure it's all really well coated. So once we've mixed our mixture really well and make sure everything is coated, we're gonna start frying. So now that it's about time to start frying our latkes, there's a few things we're gonna do first. We are gonna make sure the area we're cooking on is nice and clean. Now's a great time to clean up. We are gonna make sure we have a pan lined with paper towel to catch the oil from our latkes when they're done cooking. We need a flipper to flip our latkes, some salt to season our latkes when they come out of the pan. We're going to use a high heat oil. We like to use grapeseed oil. You can use vegetable oil or avocado oil in your pan at home. And cooking latkes, you need to use quite a lot of oil, and sometimes that oil can spit back at you out of the pan. So this is best done with the help of an adult, and it might be a good time for some younger kids to set the table while the adult does the frying. So we're going to turn on our stove. We're going to have it at a medium-high heat, and we're going to add our oil. Now we want about half an inch to a quarter of an inch of oil to coat the bottom of our pan. Now we want our oil to heat up quite a bit, so we're going to let it heat a while. This is another good time to clean up your area. And to test if our oil is hot enough, we're going to add just a little bit of our potato and wait to see if it sizzles. So our oil is not hot enough yet. The potato isn't really sizzling, so we're going to wait and let it heat up. You got to be patient, because if you put in your sweet potato too soon, it's not going to get nice and crispy, and it's going to just absorb all that oil and be really heavy. So now that our oil is warm enough, our sweet potato is sizzling in there, we are going to use a spoon, and we're going to do 2 tablespoons worth of sweet potato to make our latkes. So a nice heaping spoonful, and we're going to gently place it in the pan. Again, being careful, sometimes the oil spits back at you. And we're going to flatten it down just a little bit so that we have a nice patty shape. And we're going to do that until we fill our pan, not crowding it too much, otherwise your oil will get too cold. So now that my pan is full of sweet potato latkes, I'm going to be really patient. I'm going to watch for the edges to brown, and that's when you know that they're ready to flip. We want them to get really nice and crispy and golden brown. I like my latkes really crispy and well cooked, but you can cook yours till golden instead of brown. And you might need to adjust your heat as you're cooking, always trying to keep it at a nice medium-high temperature. And when you start to see the edges here crisping up nice and golden, you're going to take your flipper and gently flip them, again being careful of spitting oil. And you can see they've gotten a nice golden brown on one side. While you're cooking, you might want to give your latkes a squish down if they're a little bit thick, just to make sure that the inside is getting nice and cooked and soft, while the outside is getting really crisp. So my latkes are brown. They take about 1 minute to 2 minutes on each side to get nice and brown. And you're going to take them off of the oil and put them onto your paper towel lined sheet, just to make sure that you're getting all that extra oil absorbed off of the latke. So now that all of our sweet potato latkes are really nice and crisp, we're ready to plate them up. We're going to put a little bit of salt on them if you haven't already, just so that they've got that nice sweet and savory flavor. We're going to put them on our plate. And to accompany our sweet potato latkes, we're going to eat some sour cream with it. Now you can also eat these with applesauce. Maybe if you made them more sweet with cinnamon and nutmeg, they go really great with applesauce on the side. So I'm going to add the rest of my scallions that I had chopped up. Again, you could use chives. And I'm just going to mix it into my sour cream. And I'm going to put a few as well on top of my sweet potato latkes, just to brighten them up and make them look really nice. So here we have our sweet potato latkes. We're eating them today with sour cream, but you can eat them with applesauce. That's really traditional as well. And around the world, Jews eat different kinds of fried foods to celebrate Hanukkah, from plantains to donuts. Today we're eating these sweet potato latkes with sour cream. Happy Hanukkah, Chag Sameach, and enjoy.